Hello and welcome to the Vinyl Sanctuary. My name is Christian and I hope that you will join me in taking refuge in records. So I'm here today with my official entry to the album art tag 2026, which has been started by Jack over at the Vinyl Voyage. So big thumbs up to Jack. He's done a brilliant job of putting the tag together and coming up with 12 excellent questions as well. So I will put a link in the description box to this video that you're watching here to Jack's original video where he sets out the questions and does a brilliant job of answering them himself. And if you also go over to the Vinyl Voyage, you can find a playlist over there for all the other channels that have chosen to take part in the tag as well. So really happy to be doing this one. I had a lot of fun putting my answers together. So I do hope that you enjoy what I'm about to show. Thank you very much for being here. I do appreciate it. Okay, so let's get started with these 12 questions then. So I will be looking at my phone just to make sure that I don't go off track, and just making sure that I'm getting the wording of these questions correct as well. You know, it's important to make sure that everything's done properly. So I will get cracking and we'll see where we go. Okay, so question number one then was show an album with a band artist just looking cool. So there was a lot of different cool images that came into my head as I was thinking this one through. But in the end, I went for this iconic image, and it is truly iconic, of Patti Smith adorning the cover of her debut album from 1975, Horses. It's an absolutely amazing photograph, that, by Robert Mapplethorpe. I love everything about it. I love the fact that it's been rendered in black and white. I really admire the fact that there is a hint of androgyny in there, which, you know, very much forms a very important foundation of rock music in general. I think that Patti's expression, given that it's a debut album, is very assured. It's very focused. There's a confidence about the look. I just love how the kind of the jacket is slung over the shoulder that way, and I just think what she's actually wearing is very cool as well. So there's just so much to admire about that photograph. It really is a stunner, and it's the sleeve for what is a stunning album as well. And then when you turn it over, I really love the decision to have Patti's group, you know, all in a very similar pose, you know, sitting down with the arms folded. Just really well done, and again putting them in black and white gives it a very timeless quality. So we got the band members here going from left to right. Got Richard Soule there, Lenny Kaye, Ivan Kral, and then we've got JD Doherty as well. I always like to double check names when I'm doing call outs on camera. So please do check this album out if you don't know it, if you're not aware of it. It is an absolutely sublime album, a masterpiece, one of the all-time greats. Amazing songs on there, so please do check it out. Produced by John Cale. Horses by Patti Smith. Okay, so question number two. Show your weirdest, trippiest, or most controversial album cover. Okay, so I decided to bypass weird and trippy. I do have some weird and trippy covers in my collection, but I decided to test myself and I thought I'm going to go for a controversial one. So this album came out in 1990, and the cover, the original cover here that I've got, was deemed so controversial that it was actually reissued with an image of the First Amendment on the front of it. So coming up now, we have got Jane's Addiction with Ritual Delo Habitual. Another stunning album. So we'll talk a little bit about the artwork here. So it is self-explanatory as to what's going on. It's a papier-mâché sculpture that was created by Perry Farrell, the lead singer, and his then partner, Casey Nicole. And depicted here in this image is Perry Farrell alongside Casey Nicole and also Ziola Blue, who was a former partner of Perry's. And I believe that the actual image is in tribute to Ziola Blue. Very interestingly here, just if I can get that there on camera, just that, we have got there like a stamp there with the word positive on it, which is in reference to Perry's mother's pregnancy test. And the overall iconography, you know, the imagery on the cover is in reference to the Santeria religion as well, I believe. So yeah, as you can see, that is a cover that very did much cause outrage and controversy at the time, so it was reissued. I do believe there were a lot of outlets that wouldn't stock it. Now inside is a much more, should we say, no controversy going on here. Inside, it's much more serene and very liberal and down the middle, so to speak. It's inoffensive, nothing shocking here. Apologies there for that awful pun. Maybe some of you chuckled, maybe some of you groaned, but I couldn't help myself. There you go. Okay, and just got all your lyrics on there as well. Brilliant album, truly brilliant. I need to give this one a spin again soon. Oh, I should say actually, yeah, the image there, very important, is in reference to the song 3 Days, which forms very much, the kind of the centerpiece of the record, really. It's a stunning song, 3 Days, epic, amazing. Only saw Jane's Addiction live once, but I'm happy to say that when I did see them, they did play that. But there's some other amazing songs on there as well, such as Classic Girl, which is a sublime closing track. Being Caught Stealing, the big hit with the dogs barking, just great funky tune. Love that one so much. And Stop is brilliant as well. So yeah, great album and certainly a controversial cover. Okay, so question number 3, show your sexiest album cover. Okay, so yeah, love this band, have done for as long as I can remember, but they're a brilliant band first and foremost. But I do love this photograph, and I love the inner sleeve to it as well. The sheet inside housing the actual record. So coming up next, we have got the Bangles with All Over the Place. Love this band, absolutely brilliant. Okay, then we got those lovely photographs on the back of them as well. There we go. So Susanna Hoffs, of course. Yeah, the sisters here, Vicky Peterson, Debbie Peterson, and then we've got, Michael Steele here as well, Mickey Steele. There we go. Lovely. And then inside, got all these brilliant photographs here as well, if you can see. They're in black and white, so they might not be showing up too great, but just a great collage of images there. There we go. All over the place. There we go. And yeah, just a superb album. Really jangly, just really accomplished guitar rock music. Superb instrumentation throughout. Great arrangements. Hero Takes a Fall, brilliant opener. James has got like a real sort of a Cars-like vibe to it. I've always really enjoyed James. And then on side 2, we've got Going Down to Liverpool, which is a cover of a Katrina and the Waves song, which was written by Kimberly Rue, who started out in the Soft Boys. That is a great song, Going Down to Liverpool. Silent Treatment is superb as well, so please do check it out. Now, I'm conscious I didn't really name any tracks off Horses by Patti Smith. That's just because simply all I'm going to say is that every track on there is amazing. So please just, do get that album. I would recommend everybody to get all these albums I'm showing today, but Patti Smith, Horses, sublime. Okay, so question number 4. Show an album cover that you dislike and why. Okay, yeah, this one came into my head pretty quickly. I think I've talked about this on the channel before, actually. So this is a compilation album, this one, and it is this one. It's The History of Otis Redding. What on earth were they thinking? Honestly, what an awful drawing that is of Otis Redding. It's horrible. It really is. It's horrible. I do not like it at all. It just doesn't do the man justice in any way, shape, or form. Just to have that adorning a cover of anything really, I just think is pretty horrendous. It really is. And apologies, to the person, if who drew it or whatever. It's obviously being done, with the best intentions and everything else. But if there's anyone watching who may know the artist or is related to them in some way, I apologise. But I mean, it's the decision, of the label, etc., to put that on the cover, and I just think it's really bad. So there you go. I do dislike it a lot. The music, on the other hand, is sublime. I'm going to use that word a lot today, I think. Look at that for a running order there. I'm just going to hold it there for a while. Look at that. An amazing introduction to Otis Redding. If you're looking for a collection to get you started, then please do please do check this one out. I mean, you know, they could have just used a photograph here, couldn't they? They could have just used one of these on the front. And that's a great picture of Otis there. Look at that. That's a superb photograph. Just put that on the front. But there you go. Okay, moving on then. Don't want to get too don't get too upset. I've got to get back on track now. These lovely questions. Right, so question number 5 then. So show an album cover that features a creature from the animal world. Great question. So I was quite surprised actually in the end how many albums I've got with creatures and animals and whatever on the front cover. But I decided to choose this one just because it's a lovely album. I've loved it for years, and it's a great shot as well. This is a reissue of this album actually. So coming up here, we have got the Teardrop Explodes with Kilimanjaro, with that herd of zebra there on the front. Zebra, 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 zebras, however you wish to say it. I like to say zebra, and I use zebra as the plural as well, like I would deer. So that's how I say it, but I think there's, you know, various ways you can say it. But there we go. I love that image. This very narrowly beat You Can't Hide Your Love Forever by Orange Juice with those beautiful dolphins on the front cover. But I've talked about Orange Juice quite a lot on the channel today, and I really wanted to have the opportunity to show this one off. So yeah, as I said, the original cover to this album was the Teardrop Explodes on there, and they just look like the tripping balls on that cover. They really do. It's not a great photograph of the group really. It's sort of, you know, all like the kind of the lighting on it's all over the place. And Julian Cope has got this utterly maniacal grin on there as well. Gary Dwyer, the drummer, isn't sure where he is. I don't think he wants to be on the photograph the way that it comes across. But yeah, this for me is just I suppose an image with a lot more interest to it. I suppose. I mean, I did have the original pressing with that other cover on it, but I got rid of that a while ago just because I was doing a sale a while back when I needed a few quid. But I did keep this reissue of it. And interestingly as well, from a track list perspective, on this version of the pressing, you do get the song Reward on there as well. Reward wasn't on the original track list, but you do get it on here. So that is well worth getting, I should say, for the fact that you get Reward. And then you've got Julian Cope there. Great photograph for Julian, showing some really good monochrome pictures today. Brilliant. And then all your lyrics, all your personnel information there as well. Brilliant album, love it. When I Dream, great closer. Love that song so much, always loved it. Thief of Baghdad, I've always enjoyed. Poppies in the Field is superb. Treason, yeah, Treason is awesome. Great single, that one, along with Reward. Outstanding. Second Head, Sleeping Gas, Ha Ha I'm Drowning. Yeah, I love everything on that. That is a great psychedelic pop album, that. Went on to be a big influence on bands like The Coral, and, you know, spoke about them before. But it's such a good album there. Yeah, you've got Julian Cope, Gary Dwyer I've mentioned, David Balfe and Alan Gill. And then you've got Michael Finkler, Ray Martinez and Hurricane Smith appearing on it as well, listed on the back. Brilliant. Teardrop Explodes, Kilimanjaro. Okay, so moving on then, we're already up to question number 6. So we're reaching the halfway point. So if you're still with me here, thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate it. I hope that you've enjoyed what I've shown you so far. Right, so this was a lovely question, this one. So show an album cover with an interesting backstory. What's the story? Okay, so I'll show you the cover first, and then I am going to be consulting Wikipedia, because when I wanted to just make sure I got the wording of all this correctly. So when I actually read this question by Jack, this instantly popped into my head as to be the definitive answer, because I do remember it having a really compelling and actually a really sad story to it. So it did come to me quickly, this one, but then I just needed to remind myself of the circumstances of the image. So coming up now, wonderful album, this one. We have got Yeti by Armand Duel 2. Awesome album from the krautrock genre. Honest to God, this thing is an absolute beast. I mean, Yeti is a really appropriate name for it. It is just it's just a monstrous album in the most amazing way. 2 discs, goes in so many different directions. There's improvisational stuff on here. There's like elements of space rock and drone rock and folk and world music, and honestly, it's I hear so many different things going on here in this mix. It's really, really quite outstanding. I don't think I've got anything else in the collection quite like this, and I find myself coming back to it an awful lot. So yeah, Yeti Almond Dual 2. So I'll just show you the back cover first, and then the inner gatefold, and then I will show you the cover, and we'll talk about the story behind it. Okay, there we go. Great inner gatefold there as well. Look at that. Look at that. I'm so happy to have a copy of this. You know, I searched long and hard for it, and I finally got a copy of it. So for the collection, so I'm really pleased to have it. Such an enjoyable listen with loads going on. Okay, so here's that cover again. Very memorable, as you can see. I think it's one scene you're not going to want to see that as an image, just, you know, for an album cover. Okay, so let me consult Wikipedia here for it, which I know can't always be trusted, but I've also looked on multiple sources elsewhere just in preparation for doing this video, and you know, it's comprehensively corroborated that this is the story, so I'm comfortable sharing the wording of it. Okay, so this is what it says. Excuse me, just putting the record down. So the cover was designed by the band's organist, Falk Rogner, and features a collage depicting the Grim Reaper, which in German is the Der Sensenmann, and it is made from a photograph of Wolfgang Krischke. Krischke, who had worked with the band as a sound man, had died of hypothermia while under the effects of LSD. Rogner said, "When he died, I thought that the photo would be a perfect tribute to his memory. He never managed to find his way into Almond Dual properly when he was alive, so maybe his image as Der Sensenmann will work as a strange cover image and he could be remembered as a magical person." So I think that is a really interesting backstory to that cover. So there's Wolfgang Krischke there. Very sad, but also an image that pays tribute to the band's sound man. Okay, pop that in there later. Okay, and please do check out Yeti. Awesome, awesome album. Right, so question number 7. Show an album that has an interesting sleeve design, for instance, a die cut or pop-up sleeve. So the one that came into my head instantly, but I did think to myself that maybe quite a few people would show it or at least consider showing it, was Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin. I mean, it's a stunning piece of work, isn't it, as a, you know, as a concept, and the you know, the construction, the execution of it. But I went for something I thought that was maybe a little bit more off the beaten track. So what I've gone for is a band called the Raspberries, and the album is called Side 3. So it's the third album. So as you can see there, you know, you've got your box of raspberries there, and you've got the lovely cutout there. And it's a great album, power pop, this one. Coming out of Cleveland, Ohio, led by Eric Carmen, before he went on to have an absolutely stratospheric, monumentally commercially successful solo career. But yeah, these guys, the Raspberries, if you're after some straight up power pop, brilliant exponents of that genre. Yeah, wow, opens up with Tonight, brilliant song, that one. Has this got Ecstasy on it? Yes, it has. I had to remind myself there. Ecstasy, here it is on side 2, the penultimate track. I'm a Rocker as well is brilliant. Hard to Get Over a Heartbreak is good as well. But yeah, that's a really strong album throughout. My sort of favourite Raspberries album tends to flip flop over the years. This at one point was my favourite, but I've not listened to it in a long time. I find myself going back to Starting Over an awful lot, which is the final album, the fourth one, and Fresh, the second album, is amazing as well. So I'm going to try very carefully to open this just to give you a little bit more of an insight into it. So there you go. You've got your lovely design there of the Raspberries there. Then this actually flips back like so. There we go. That flips. You've got obviously the spoon there with the raspberries on it. And then the record itself, you sort of, this little bit here kind of pulls forward a little touch, and then you actually take the record out itself, which is housed like so. So it's all original, as you can see. It's all together, all present and complete. I'm delighted I've got that original inner for it. I mean, it'd have to be the original for it to actually fit the shape of the sleeve. So there you go, some more great photographs of the group, and then the record just slips out there like that. There we go, just slips out. So yeah, Raspberries side 3. Please do check it out. It's just a really superb album. Very enjoyable from start to finish. As I mentioned, if you're into your power pop, if very influenced by the likes of the Beatles and the Move and the Who, groups like that came before them. But I feel the Raspberries definitely went on to influence bands that came up after them as well. So yeah, please do check it out. Great album that. Okay, so where are we up to then? Question number 8. Yeah, number 8. Show an album where the sleeve art was the primary reason you decided to take a chance on the music. Right, so this was another one that came to me quickly. However, when I originally bought this album, I actually bought it on CD. So I'll tell a little story now. So I was definitely working at the newspaper at this point. I was still in my roving reporter days when I got this album. So I would have been in my early 20s. I bought it on CD from a shop called Music Zone, which was here in the UK. There'll be a lot of people out there that remember Music Zone. And I remember it was my lunch break from work, picked it up, brought it back. I think I paid about £6, £7 for it. And a colleague of mine who worked on my desk, who was, a good bit older than me, but let's just say really knew his music. And he would often like to peer into my bag if I'd been to HMV or Music Zone or wherever to see what I'd bought. And I remember him, I can picture it clear as day now. I remember him taking this album out, looking at the CD, almost looking at me, a bit of a raised eyebrow, a bit quizzical, and said, "What made you buy that, Christian?" And I just remember saying to him, I loved the cover. I knew nothing about the band at this stage. I've gone on to learn an awful lot about them and collect a lot of their albums, but I bought it purely on the fact that I just thought that the sleeve looked so cool. And I just remember him kind of nodding in approval, didn't say anything. I mean, he clearly knew who the band were, but I think he was just a little bit sort of, how have you heard of this group? And I just said, well, I don't know who they are, but I took a chance on it because of the cover. So that's the story for that one. So I had this on CD for years, and then as the years went by, when I finally managed to get hold of a vinyl copy, I was over the moon. So coming up next then to show you for an album that I took a punt on based on the cover, we have got Teenage Head by Flaming Groovies. Look at that cover. Now, I thought this looked great and cool as anything when it was in CD format. So, I mean, look at it there. I just think that is just such a brilliant cover. Just the shades, the way that he's got the boots there, that guitar. Just the way, Ray Loney, who I didn't know his name at the time, just stood there, with the cigarette dangling. The band, just everything about it, the guitars, it just works for me so well, that. And I just remember seeing it and thinking, I have no idea how this is going to sound, but I have to get it. I just have to get it. And the version that I bought of it, because it was on CD, as I recall, had I think it had some bonus tracks on it as well. So I got a more comprehensive version of the album than what I went on to get later on. But yeah, it's just brilliant. Such a good album, this one. It rocks hard in places. Don't think you can see that with the ring light. Yeah, that's not showing up, so I'll have to read that out. So it just says, yeah, Kama Sutra Records presents the Flaming Groovies in Teenage Head. Special guest star is Jim Dickinson, plays piano on High Flying Baby, City Lights, and Have You Seen My Baby? So yeah, it's just all your personnel information on there. But yeah, the Flaming Groovies with Roy Loney, I've already mentioned. Cyril Jordan, who's this chap here. It was Cyril who kind of, I zoned in on Cyril when I was looking at the CD on the rack. Got Danny Meme on there, or Mim, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, Tim Lynch and George Alexander. But yeah, there is some brilliant songs on here. Whiskey Woman is superb, Dr. Boogie. I think you're getting an idea of the type of music this is just from the titles. Teenage Head, the song itself, is absolutely superb. Have You Seen My Baby, which is a Randy Newman song, is on here as well. High Flying Baby, City Lights, the ones that Jim Dickinson appears on, are all brilliant. Evil Hearted Ada as well. Please do check that album out. If you're looking for something bluesy, something fun, bit of garage rock sort of a vibe to it as well, then please do check out Teenage Head. And it says, yeah, came out there in 1971. It's got listed there on the back there. Kama Sutra Records. Yeah, excellent. Really love that album. Not played it in a while, but really do love that one. Yeah, Jack's inspired me to give that one a spin again after taking part in this tag. Right, question number 9. Yeah, my word, I've not listened to this one for for ages, but I remembered it was very battered, so that's why I picked it up. Right, show your most battered sleeve that has the most wear and tear, ring wear, creases, or an album that has a particular battle scar. Tell the story of the scars. Right, so this thing is battered. I mean, it's practically falling apart, and I'm having to keep it in a plastic sleeve just to keep the thing together. I think I spent about 50p on this one. I picked it up in on a flea market somewhere. Can't remember if it was abroad or not, but it was pennies really what I spent for it. But I knew of the album. I knew a couple of tracks on it when I bought it, but I'll be really honest, I haven't spun it in a long time, and I really should. I've kept it for a reason, clearly. Maybe just sentiment, I don't know, because I'd remembered, only picking it up for 50 pence, whatever it was. But I do need to play it again. So coming up next, we have got Blood, Sweat and Tears. There we go. This album here. So yeah, this I'm gonna have to be really, really careful showing this because it is in a pretty bad way. So as you can see already, that the ring wear is probably not going to show up too great. You've got like a price sticker removal blemish on it. The spine has completely had it. It's got water damage to it as well. I mean, it really is a bit of a mess, this one. So I'm gonna have to be super careful with opening it as well because it is falling apart. It's got it's got rips in it there as well. I could really do with like retaping it and stuff, to be fair, but I haven't done. Um, can I even do this? Gosh, sorry everybody. People were wincing there watching me flip that, just trying to show you the inside of it as well. Yeah, I've managed to keep it all together, but yeah, it's very tatty. Let's be honest about it. So I'm certainly not keeping it because for pristine reasons or anything, but it's an album that I've got I have got some nice memories of listening to it. It's got some lovely variations. Eric Satie's piano piece, Satie. I've always said Satie, which is beautiful. I think it opens and closes the album. Yeah, it does variations on a theme. Yeah, the first and second movements. And then it comes up again at the end. Yeah, sort of bookends the album. Spinning Wheel is the song that I remember very fondly off this record as well. And yeah, it's got like writing and all kinds on it. That's all split up. Look at it. It's pretty horrendous, actually, that, isn't it? I'd love to have a nicer copy of it, but for the time being, the music actually plays great. The record itself isn't too bad at all. It's quite nice, actually. The vinyl, it's all right. It plays through. I certainly remember playing it. I mean, I play everything that I buy. It's just that I've not played it in an extremely long time. So there was definitely no issues with the sound of it, which is no doubt why I kept it. So yeah, so I'm just gonna pop that down there. I'm not really going to attempt to put all that back on camera. You might be watching me for a while, struggling to gingerly put all that back into place, and I want to keep things moving, so I will artfully put that back together a little later. But yeah, Blood, Sweat and Tears there with my battered up copy entry for this tag. Okay, so we've just got 3 questions left then now. So number 10, show your favourite inner gatefold. This was so hard to answer. It really was. I think the main reason I've picked this one, it is a very cool inner gatefold. Whether it's my favourite in my entire collection, maybe, maybe not. But I picked it more for the fact that it's certainly memorable because it, again, popped into my head. But it was more just because it was an excuse to talk about the band, to be honest. I've talked about them briefly on the channel before, but I wanted the chance to do so again. So this is an album that I really love. It just rocks. It really does. We've got here What a Bunch of Sweeties. That's the album name by Pink Fairies. Great, great band. A band that I really, really need to get more records off, to be honest. I'm always on the lookout for Pink Fairies stuff. This is the only studio album that I've got in the collection to date. I do have a compilation of them as well, which was my entry point into Pink Fairies. I picked that up on a flea market in Dumfries and got speaking to Douglas, who was selling it, he's just a brilliant guy. I've kept in touch with Douglas for years after I bought that album, and he really did get me into some great music that day. So I'll always be thankful to Douglas for that. So he introduced me pretty much to Pink Fairies, but then I ended up getting this at a later date. So here's the front and back cover before I show you the inner gatefold. So yeah, quite cosmic, quite colourful looking. But what you get in here, as if you're in a gatefold, is a brilliant comic strip. It's really superb, really well done, and it's a good display of the humour of the group, I would say. You know, this is a an album that doesn't take itself too seriously in terms of some of the lyrical content. You know, there are some passages on there that you know that are definitely intended to be humorous, shall we say? But I'm just trying to get that all in there so you can see. But yeah, I think that's a really cool in a gatefold. So I'm happy to show that. And musically, as I mentioned, it's bluesy in places. It's psychedelic. There's a lot of hard rock in there. For me, the track Marilyn, which is one of my favourites on there, Marilyn, questionable lyrics, but it really rocks. Lyrics very much of its time, should we say, in terms of maybe like in reference to you know, the sort of the rock and roll lifestyle and culture. But that's almost like sounds quite like proto metal to me. That really, the Pigs of Uranus, yeah, it's yeah. Portobello Shuffle is really good. I've always enjoyed Right On, Fight On as well, the opening track. But for me, you know, the one to really check out on this one is Walk Don't Run. Great version of that, which was by the Ventures. Superb version of Walk Don't Run on here, and then it closes off as well with a version of I Saw Her Standing There, which is worth checking out as well. So yeah, I love it. It's a really good album. That a lot of fun. Need to listen to it again. Really rocks out. Great musicianship on it as well. Superb record that, and a very good, very cool in a gatefold. Okay, so question number 11. Okay, the penultimate question. Show your favourite album cover. Why is it your favourite? Yeah, this one won pretty much straight away. I love it so much, I've even had it put on a t-shirt. So we'll show you the t-shirt. There it is. That's the cover. And the album, love it. Favourite cover ever is Badfinger here with Straight Up. Now, why do I love this cover so much? Because it just absolutely screams 1970s rock to me in a way that I just, you know, it's not even trying, is it, in terms of, it's not trying to be overly clever or anything with a concept. It's just four guys just looking into the camera the way that they are, dressed the way they are, those haircuts, everything. And it's just like, we're here, we're ready to rock. I love it. I just love that cover. I really do. It's just brilliant. That is just a cover that when I see it, I want to play it. It just is, and it is such an awesome album as well. You know, they look a bit more relaxed on the back cover. You know, there's a focus there again, as you can see. You know, there's just a look of what we mean business, and yeah, the fact that it doesn't have anything, you know, any title on it or anything either. It's just that photograph. It's so kind of front and center and so in your face, as it were. It's just like, look, we're here, we're ready to go, and I love it. I love it for it. It's a great album cover, my favourite. And like I said, put it on a t, add it, you know, put on a t-shirt, and this album for me is just a gem. I'm very grateful to have it. It's old, it's battered. You know, I've talked about it on the channel before. I've had to put hours and hours of TLC into getting the thing to play all the way through properly without sticking and skipping. But I'm delighted to say I've been able to accomplish that now with various techniques. So it plays beautifully. Check it out, Badfinger Straight Up. Again, if you're into your power pop, please do listen to this. You know, it's got Todd Rundgren and George Harrison appearing on here on various songs in a production duties. The songwriting on here is just immense from beginning to end. It really is. You know, you got songs on here like Baby Blue, which has, you know, become extremely famous in more recent years due to a certain TV program. Day After Day on here, Name of the Game, oh, Money, I love it. It's Over, brilliant album closer. Oh, I love everything on this one, I really do. Suitcase is great. Take It All, yeah, wow. Yeah, please do get this album if you can, everybody. Great band. Tragic story behind them. You know, almost Shakespearean, really, the story behind this group in terms of, you know, everything that went on. But what a band. So we got Joey Molland, Tom Evans, Pete Ham, and Mike Gibbons. Badfinger. Straight up. Straight up classic. Please do check that one out. Okay. And this group here I'm about to show, to finish this tag off, I've actually got links to Badfinger because, big clue coming up now, this group was signed to the Apple label. So there we go. And I've just mentioned Mr. Harrison there on production duties. Okay, so the final question of the tag is, if you had to live in an album cover for the rest of your life, which one would it be and why? So keep this one very simple and very quick because everybody, you know, pretty much out there is familiar with this album in some way or another. But here's my answer to that. It's Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles. And the reason I'd want to live in this cover is because look at how many interesting people I'd get to speak to. As simple as that. I don't think there's any more to say than that with that one. My wife and I were discussing that question over dinner when I was preparing the answers, and we both thought, you know, it's got to be that cover, hasn't it? It's got to be. Look at all the chinwags I could have there. All those people. All those perspectives to gain and all that knowledge to learn. And that's not even including the Beatles themselves. So there you go. Love to live in that cover. Right. And then, of course, there's that classic gatefold as well inside. Yeah, and I think the Beatles there, that's a nice way to conclude the tag. So, just before I wrap up and say thank you for everybody watching, I really appreciate it. There was a bonus question here as well from Jack, which was to create your own album cover for an album released by your channel. So, I had a lot of fun doing that. I have created a cover for for the channel, for the tag. So what I'll do with that one, Jack, and for everybody watching, is I will post it onto the community section of my channel. I'll put the album art tag and I'll tag Jack in and stuff so that hopefully he'll be able to see it. But all I'll say to you, I won't give any spoilers away, but when you look at the cover that I've come up with for the album art tag, I've given it a title as well, the name of the album. This is very much me leaning into my Led Zeppelin side. It's a full-on heavy classic rock album that I'm envisaging for that album cover. It's not a jingly jangly one or a folky one or anything like that. It's going to be full-on rock. So this is me channeling my inner Jimmy Page, Ritchie Blackmore, you know, Tommy Iommi, those sorts of players. So please do check out that cover when I've uploaded it and let me know what you think of it. So yeah, the bonus question was a lot of fun. So on that note then, I just want to say thank you very, very much indeed to you all for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. You know, your time and attention is always, it's never taken for granted here at the Vinyl Sanctuary. It really does mean a lot to me. And again, you know, thumbs up to Jack for putting that tag together. It was a lot of fun. So if you're new to the channel and you've enjoyed what I've done today, then please do consider popping a like on the video. I'd be very, very appreciative if you did. And perhaps as well, if you would like to continue to take refuge in records and continue to see what I get up to over the course of the year, if you'd like to subscribe to the Vinyl Sanctuary, then it would be lovely to have you here. Please do click the notification bell if you choose to subscribe, and that will make sure that you are aware of all my future content landing. You'll get all those notifications, etc. So yeah, there's not much more for me to add other than thank you everybody. Take care of yourselves. I'll be back again as soon as I can. I've got some more ideas percolating at the moment, and we'll see what comes up next. But until then, bye for now.